every time that we're not operating from this autopilot mode, that is 90% of the time throughout the day, we are naturally channeling. Every time we get creative, every time we find a solution for something, every time. This is a natural channel we all have. This is the information that is constantly flowing. I realize the level of humor that you have in this podcast is not the kind of humor that I share. I was like,
we're going
I'm going to be open to dark humor. I'm going to be open, like to discuss.
Stop judging.
No
Stop
judgment.
judging us, Valeria. The judgment.
No judgment.
The Big Hormone Enneagram.
I'm John Lekovich, 415, sexual self-pres, 458 Trifix.
I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual, 9 with 1 wing, 974 Trifix.
What up, it's Emeka. I'm an 8-wing 7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm a social self-preservation 9-wing 1, 963 Trifix.
Like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify, and leave us a review. If you want to support the show with a donation, you can find us on Venmo at Big Hormone and paypal.me/Big Hormone.
Before we begin the episode, I want to annoy people with some plugs. So we've been getting complaints that our plugs are too long for our absolutely free podcast. So I'm going to really indulge right now. Coming up, we have a couple courses and seminars that we decided to offer. So first one, Alexandra and I just got back from the International Enneagram Association conference in the Netherlands in Amsterdam, where we presented The Pain of the Blindspot. So we were one of several keynote speakers, and the endnote speaker got sick, and so we filled in because I guess they liked our presentation so much and were so interested in it. So it's The Pain of the Instinctual Blind Spot, and you can find information on that on the enneagramschool.com. It's going to be just a go-through of the presentation we did there. It's on July 14th, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Zoom. And the basic idea was trying to highlight and emphasize the role of the instinctual drives, and specifically the instinctual blind spot, in inner transformation, in working on oneself, in becoming more self-aware, and particularly the role the blind spot plays in that it's not just that we're missing a lot because we've neglected our instinctual blind spot, but also by neglecting our instinctual blind spot, we have undermined unconsciously the goals and aims of our dominant instinct. So it was a very interesting presentation for people. And, on this pod, we kind of free talk. This is a bit more, informational, teacherly or whatever. So it might be a different way to learn. So check that out. And then on enneagramschool.com. And then secondly, Alexandra and I are also going to be teaching a course this summer on the sexual instinct. It's going to be about what is the sexual instinct, what is your individual relationship with the sexual instinct, how to have a more conscious relationship with it, why would you want to, and it's for people no matter where the sexual instinct is in your stacking. And we'll be coming at it from interesting perspectives, given that Alexandra and I, that we have opposite stackings. I'm a sexual type. She's sexual blind. And we've had our own sexual instinct journeys, especially together. So that should be pretty interesting. And that's July 30th, August 6th, skipping a week, and then August 20th, and then August 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, also on Zoom. Check it out on the enneagramschool.com. And Mr. Josh did an interview with Alexandra and I on his podcast, What It's Like to Be You, where we talk specifically about the sexual instinct and this topic and the kinds of things we're hoping to explore in the course. That should be found wherever you can find podcasts, and the video is on YouTube. So, and then buy my book and buy David's book and tip Emeka and get straight astrology readings from Alexandra.
All right, we're ready.
Cool.
Thank you. Yay.
Well, thanks for coming on.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I was telling the guys before that I laughed so much when I was hearing the episode, the one that you recorded, like sharing all your experiences, because to me it was really funny to hear let's say, like the impressions of someone who don't believe exactly the same things that I believe. So, noticing, the way you perceive things, it was so interesting to me, and I was just laughing the whole episode. So thank you guys for speaking like that and so fondly as well about the experience.
For sure. Yeah. No, I mean, we all loved it. We're really fascinated by it. And as you can hear from us talking about it, yeah, it was like, it was really interesting how, like we said in the episode, like how distinct everybody's reading was. And, again, not totally believing or, and not disbelieving, just kind of seeing how it goes. We were all like, man, there's no way she can just make shit up on the fly.
Right.
That is so distinct. And, and I've heard, I haven't heard the whole audio, but I've heard points that were made on other people's readings too that seemed also very accurate and very distinct to them. And it was just like, you don't know us at all.
Right. Right.
And that for me stood out the most. Was just like, there was something in the essence of each reading that was so personal without having any sense of who we were. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Enneagram? Like, do you know about the Enneagram?
Actually, no. Like I've
Okay,
heard the
even
word,
better.
the Enneagram. I know it's something that you do, if I'm not mistaken, to learn more about, like, it's like a self-discovery tool as well, right? Like you learn about your personality, certain things maybe that you bring, certain things that you can develop. But this is, and I know the shape of the Enneagram. This is all I know. Like I was
Sure, yeah,
fascinated
no,
as
that's
well,
even
but,
better.
like, it's such a big thing, I wasn't even aware.
I think
Yeah, I was going to bring up that just with not even knowing the Enneagram, you incidentally used a lot of Enneagram language without realizing it. So like I'm a 9, and there was a lot of language in my reading about just like holding myself and not waiting for like the world to hold me, like learning how to like develop that myself. I know Emeka had a lot of 8 language. John, it was just very right on for each person.
Yeah.
I think they're all really self-discovery tools, especially the Akashic Records on level 1. It's really all about a tool to use to learn about yourself more and to unblock and to heal and to understand. So I think, you're using the Enneagram, I use the Akashic Records, other people use, human design, other people use astrology, but in the end, the language is different, but the information is the same.
Yeah, I think so too.
So maybe before we go further, we should have Valeria introduce herself and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Okay.
welcome, Valeria. So last episode we did we all shared our Akashic reading records that David got us, and so now we have her on, and we're very honored. So if you could just introduce yourself and say a few things about you and where people can find you if they're interested in a reading.
Sure. Thanks, Guy. First, beforehand, thanks for having me. I'm super stoked as I said, after listening to the last episode you did. As said, well, my name is Valeria. I was born in Argentina 44 years ago now. And I've been living in Spain, in Mallorca, for the last 24 years. I had a very rough upbringing, a very rough life. I grew up in a family that it's extreme, not so much anymore, but at that time it was extremely, extremely complicated. I grew up surrounded by a lot of violence as well. So all of us who are hypersensitive or who come to the world with, let's say, I don't know, special gifts or talents or things that we come to bring to the world, when we grow up in these extremely hostile environments, we tend to create kind of like these personalities and these shields and all these things. So I grew up extremely angry. And it was not until I started my healing journey around 2010, when I was 30. It was the time as well that I used skateboarding and longboarding as a tool to get out of all these really self-destructive behaviors that I was going through. I went through addictions, alcohol, drugs, eating disorders, party, different kind of things. And it was not until I turned 28 that I decided to I realized that all these things were just the tip of the iceberg. There was a whole thing underneath that was causing all these behaviors, all these self-destructive behaviors. So I started my healing journey. This is when I started skating. Then I went out to develop one of the biggest communities in the world around action sports and women skating. This was 10 years of my life that was really big and massive. At this time, I was already starting to feel deeper and deeper connection. I was born with the ability to read the energy of people. This is something that I had since I was a child. I can see someone, if I connect, I can know what they are going through, what they're thinking, what's happening, what has happened. It's something that I was born with. But it was not until 2013 when I really started digging deep into my own healing process, where I didn't reconnect, let's say, with this part of myself. And it was in 2016 that I rediscovered the Akashic records, and this completely changed my life. Like, I remember the first time that I had my reading, I remember I was looking at this girl and I was like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, who are you? How can you know such deep things of my soul that no one knows except me? How is this possible? Who are you? What is this? And she said, well, these are the Akashic records. And actually, she said, everyone can learn how to do this. With the years and my own research, I come to read. Now I am a teacher. Now, then she became not only my friend, but my teacher. And of course, now I am an Akashic Records teacher, and I teach people all around the world how to access the Akashic Records. And how to access is basically this space of this space of information where all the information of every soul that has ever existed, every soul that has detached from source, as all of us, kind of like can check into the whole path, into the whole journey of the soul, not just of this incarnation, but the whole path of the soul. So it's truly fascinating, and the same thing as you guys do. It's a self-discovery tool, and a very deep, because it goes to it really, really like on a soul level, right? It's not just about this incarnation. It's not about the personality, let's say, in this incarnation, but it's really on a soul level. So yeah, and today this is what I do. I do readings, I do mentorships, I teach people how to access their own. I channel a lot of like master classes. I share a lot of information in workshops, everything related to helping expand the consciousness of humans in this extraordinary time that you are going through, right? Like we're going through a very pivotal time in the history, this ending, this 25,000 years end cycle that we're going through. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's
Amazing.
really cool. Yeah, I'm really curious about channeling. We had had a channel on this pod like a few years ago to talk. He was a Michael Teachings channel, and we sort of grilled him about like, you know, how does this work? You know, what is channeling? So I'm just curious to hear you sort of, for people who are curious about channeling, what is it? And yeah, just how would you introduce the idea of channeling to someone?
Yeah, and what your perception is while you channel, because like how is the information perceived or comes to you?
So channeling is something that all human beings can do. We are all, when we are not operating from the automatic, this pilot mode. I'm sorry,
Automatic,
just,
Autopilot.
Yeah, just autopilot. So English is not my mother tongue, so I just want to put this out there. So sometimes I will say silly words. But every time that we're not operating from this autopilot mode, that is 90% of the time throughout the day, we are naturally channeling. Every time we get creative, every time we find a solution for something, every time. This is a natural channel we all have. This is the information that is constantly flowing. The thing is that after these thousands and thousands of years of indoctrination, we have forgotten how to consciously channel, right? Because it's something that we bring in our karmic bodies as well, the fact that you cannot do that. You cannot consciously channel, right? Like at some time, the church decided like what you can believe, what you cannot believe, and everything else, you're kind of going to be burned. You're going to be burned if you go against any of that, right? So I just want to start by saying all human beings were all natural channels. We just have forgotten how to do this, especially in the times of Atlantis and Lemuria. This is something that we naturally did. We connected to these high realms of consciousness, and we obtained the information that we needed, and we continued. It's something very, very natural. So this being said, again, every time like we get creative, you're doing music, you're writing something, you're finding a solution to something, you're creating a program, whatever it is, or you're feeling something, like you're having an intuition, you're having like we're constantly channeling. All human beings are constantly channeling when we're not operating in autopilot. In my personal experience, channeling, when I started to learn how to consciously channel, it was not through all the spectrum. So I started having just maybe a little visions. There were some words that would come, but it was very limited because my mind was blocking the whole process, right? Like your mind is constantly telling you, of course you cannot do that. Like, what do you think you are? Do you really think that you're going to be, this is like the way it kind of works, because the mind and the ego, they don't like change. So it's kind of like this whole process. So I started like that, just some visions, some intuitions, some words. And now throughout the years, and because I'm so much into this, it has widened the spectrum. And sometimes they talk to me in my ear directly. So I say directly the message. Sometimes they show me images. Sometimes they show me archetypes. Sometimes they show me things and they ask me to relate what I am seeing. Sometimes there are smells. Sometimes it's physical pain in my body. So that's how I know that you have a physical pain in your body, according to where it hurts to me. Now it's like the full, like we're opening like the full spectrum, and it's very exciting actually as well.
It's almost like a full sensory download is what's happening. Like you're not just mentally images, but you're actually receiving things to your body.
Yeah, the mind actually needs to be really quiet when we channel, because the mind is the major interference, right? The mind is all the time that is telling you, like, who do you think you are? You cannot do this. Oh my God, is this resonating with this person? Like all these things is just the mind. So the mind needs to be like, as quiet as possible. I always say, like, now you stay quiet, and I just allow, like, this is what I am. I'm a channel.
A channel, yeah.
And the information flows. Exactly. And that's why I don't retain any of the information. Like after I'm done with your session, I go down, I have breakfast, I forgot everything. So that's why it was funny for me to listen to you, because I was like, did I say I had no idea?
Wow.
I don't retain the information. It's not something that my mind develops and then I remember a little bit. No, I'm just, I'm a channel. Whatever information needs to flow, it flows. But of course, I always say that it's important for channels to be as clean as possible, because inevitably there is some, even though I quiet my mind, inevitably the cleaner that I am, the less polarized, judgmental opinions that I may have about anything, the clearer the channel. That's why it was so interesting, because all of you, you're so interesting. You're very interesting people. And it was so interesting to me to experience. There is something that I remember very clearly, especially with John, that it was this. We say that from the Akashic records, they don't emit any sort of judgment, right? Like there's no judgment for them. There doesn't exist good or bad. It does not exist to them. And I've been practicing this for a long time, and many people come to me to session that have done maybe things that we would judge as something extremely harsh. We're talking about like some really heavy things, right? And even though during these moments it was something, it was important for me to say neutral, 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 I have never experienced like this sense of absolutely no judgment regarding with this, I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with you, John, or that you have done nothing bad.
Yes, there is.
Now it's no. Now it's sounding a little bit funny.
Hit me.
No.
Our
Now
dark
it's sounding
boy.
It was not okay. No, really. I'm sorry. It's not.
We're just giving him shit.
I love illegal things.
It's sounding a little bit funny, but it was also, it was not about this incarnation, but it was mostly about the way they talked about other experiences in other things. It was with such a neutral tone, and
But
this
John
was
was
to me
Hitler,
like
is what you're saying.
fascinating. Sorry, what?
But John was Hitler, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the seed of evil. No, it was not like that.
There you go.
All right, I'll take it.
No, but you know what I mean. To me it was
we get it.
fascinating to see the approach of this non-polar, non-judgmental, even from a place of like, everything is an experience. Everything is part of the experience. It's very hard for us to understand how there's no judgment regarding even stuff that we could consider like, oh my God, this is so heavy.
Scary.
Again, not because maybe it's misunderstanding, John. I swear to God, I'm not talking. It's not about like you in particular, but it's about like the whole. It's so pivotal in the consciousness expansion for us to perceive things in the least judgmental,
Sure.
not polarized way.
Uh-huh.
And this is so hard for us to do because we're filled with judgment. We're judging all the time. So being able to listen to them talking about certain past life experiences or some certain choices from a place of absolutely no judgment and as part of source experiencing itself, which is what we're doing. We're all fractals of source experiencing itself. From this place of no judgment, to me, this was like, I would say, like one of the most extreme cases of that I have experienced so far, like this place of no judgment. And I have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of readings, to
That's very
people
cool.
all around the world. So you're all such special, all of you, you're so like every, new reading was like, wow, this person is something else. So it was very enriching for me. Even, of course, I don't remember most of it. It was very enriching. So I thank David again for this as well.
That's very cool. Do you have like physical, how do I say this? Does it stay in your body ever? Like, do you remember? You're saying that you don't remember most of what you channel. And I guess my assumption is that you don't remember from like a verbal place. But do you have like do you remember like the physical feeling of, I don't know, like some kind of
energy.
sensory texture of somebody's energy? Right, exactly.
Sometimes when things are very extreme, it takes a little while. Like when someone has like implants, or in their back that they're very heavy. Like I feel this pain, or when sometimes the heart of the person has a lot of pain or sad, or it hurts. It's like a literal, like it hurts. But this is during the session. When I close the records, it's all gone. Because I stay with nothing. And I'm very special. Like I do believe energy workers should have more hygiene
That makes sense.
to energy work, because I clean myself, I clean the house 3 times a day minimum. Every day. And I have done this and I'm very sensitive, of course. So every time that I sense there's an energy that is not mine, boom, I have a guy, I call Andy. Andy's my guy in the UK. He checks on me, he sees. So every time that you feel that there's something, for me, there are very clear signs. If there's anything, it doesn't usually happen, but if there's anything, but also there are many things, I don't know, sometimes because of what I do, I'm in touch with a lot of different types of energies. And sometimes some people maybe, there's, I don't know, they send you something, or there's a lot of stuff happening. So to me, there are very clear signs that there's something that's not okay. Sleep interrupted, when whatever thing that I'm doing or project, like something is blocked, when your projects are blocked, when I'm just feeling more tired than usual, when I'm like, there are very specific things that you can do to realize, like, wait, there's an energy that is not mine, because sometimes you feel certain things and it's stuff that it's yours. We love to blame it on the outside, right? Like, oh, I must have something stuck. Maybe no, dude, maybe this is something that you need to clear for yourself. But there are very clear signs as well when we have something that is from the outside that has been sent to us, or that has been attached to us, that does not have the best interest at heart for us. And there are very clear signs, like these things, like sleep interruption, feeling general blockages of everything that you're doing, accidents, things, like you're constantly hitting your body, things that, like constant misunderstandings. This is very clear signs of outer interference. So if ever something like this happens, I always have my guy, I check in, and I, of course, do my own cleansing and homework to have everything as clean as possible for me, but also for you guys, for everyone. Like this, I think it's super important.
Yeah, wow. Man, I must be really blocked. I've been tired every day since I've been born. I have some cleansing to do.
I'll send over Andy's info. You can just drop him a message and ask him like, hey Andy, I work with Valeria. Can you see if there's anything wrong?
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Valeria,
can you heal us all on this call?
Yeah, right now.
Yes, everything. Yes, imagine. But we did not come here. We come here to experience it ourselves and to do it ourselves. And of course,
I don't want to experience anything bad.
Prince David, our pampered Prince David.
So I have a question about all these factors that you're mentioning that can affect how well someone can channel. I'm curious about talk about the skill level, how good a channel can be. I mean, you just talked about how clean your physical body or how cleared your energy is to receive this. What makes a channeler good at this?
Yeah,
Or
great question.
talent-wise.
We want to know if we can cheat on you and see other channels.
How do you know that a channeler is a good channel?
That's a good question.
So it's basically, to me, there are many, you see many things on social media. You encounter many people that say, oh, I channel from this place, I channel from the other. To me, it's basically energy doesn't lie or don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
People can say whatever, but energy is energy. Energy is the universal language, and energy don't lie. So there are some things that you feel not just on a physical level, but you feel like with when you were having your readings, I'm guessing there were times that you were feeling things like on a even molecular level, that it's like this is like this. I cannot explain what this is, but the resonance, it's very deep. Even I don't understand everything. The resonance is very deep. So we're all in this unlearning process, right? Like unlearning of what we believed that was possible for us and for others, right? So it's really hard. Like, how is this girl able to channel these things? At the big, 10 years ago, I was probably like that as well, because I was too much in this prison of the system that told us what we can or what we cannot believe, what we can and what we cannot do. So personally, I believe that the constant inner work on myself and the constant work on the non-judgment part of things has made me a better channel each time, because I don't let my personal opinions interfere. I just allow the energy. And sometimes it happens. The other day I was doing a reading to this person and I was asking, I ask all the time, are you okay? Do you have any doubt about what they say? And this person said, honestly, I don't know. Like nothing was making sense to them, right? At this point, this is a trigger in your mind to say, shit, like she's not, like nothing is resonating. This is crazy. Oh my God. And it's a really easy moment to say like,
to doubt yourself.
You doubt yourself and then you doubt yourself. So your mind start messing up. So the mind start messing up. There's the fear. There's not like natural flow. But I said, I try, it's also like a mind thing. Like I trust 100% what I don't doubt anymore. Like maybe 10 years ago, I don't doubt anymore. Like I don't need any more proof of how good of a channel I am. So it was funny because I finished the session and that night she sends me a message and she says, hey, it didn't resonate during the whole session, but I listened to this again and I cannot believe how much it resonates, like the deep levels which it resonates, how healing, how loving, how, because sometimes as well we tend to, we love to create a reality for ourselves and we believe that reality, no matter if it's true or not. We just, we need that as a comfort thing. So to me, like these are all proofs, of like transcending and becoming a better channel, with trusting that the place where it comes from is, and trusting that I don't need to control anything. This has nothing to do with me. I just connect and the energy flows and it just, but it's to me, it's really more about the work of the channel. This being said as well, there are some channels that are really good that I don't work with because they still have a lot of limiting beliefs, let's say regarding money. I know a lot of channels, really great channels that had a lot of limiting beliefs regarding money. So if I want to expand, let's say, my thing regarding my service, my business, money, probably that's not a channel that I'm going to go with, you know,
Mhm.
because
Yeah, 'cause there's a
there's
blockage there.
still
Yeah.
some blockages, you know, mentally that I believe that could interfere in my reading. It's very subtle. Yes. So that's why I'm constantly nonstop working on myself, not just on my wounds, on my everything, because I believe the more empty I am, the less judgment I have regarding things, the less attachment I have to regarding anything, the better channel I become. And this is what I've been experiencing. So yeah, I'm
wow.
stoked.
So it's really
Yeah,
about the
wow, it's-
person. It's like the vessel was. You have to really
Vessel, yeah.
know who that person is. Not necessarily about the skill level, but they're the vessel to the information's coming through. So if they have any blockages, I guess
Yeah, it sounds like
that
a
would affect
complete
things.
openness. Like,
A non-identification.
yeah.
Non-identification, yes. And also, I always say, be very careful with who you go with. In this world,
yeah.
as you probably it happens with in the Enneagram as well, there's everything. There's so many people who say, oh, I'm, and maybe they're not really in a place of service, or maybe, so I would say, always go with people that you have a reference, that someone that you trust or that you know have, you know, be careful, because there's a lot of people who are not operating from a place of truth or from a place of light. And hey, maybe that's what you're looking for, and that's okay then, you know, but
Dawn.
just be,
Yeah,
no.
Just
no.
kidding.
Keeps
I'm
going
kidding.
towards the darkness. Oh my God.
Sorry, I
but you know what
interrupted
I
you.
mean.
Go ahead.
No, but you know what I mean. It's just like, be careful, because I have had a lot of people coming to me throughout the year saying like, yeah, I had an Akashic Records reading 10 years ago, and they say the reason why there was this extreme case and she found her mom dead. Yeah, they killed her because of you. I'm like, no, wait.
Whoa.
Like, I don't know what that is, but that was not an Akashic Records reading. This I can tell you, you know?
Yeah.
So
okay,
there's a
wow.
lot. I just mentioned a very extreme case, but there's a lot of that, you know, of people. You probably have the same thing, like, oh, but I've been told, you know, by another Enneagram reader, or, you know, that.
Right.
And not everyone is operating, you know, from a place of like, you know, light or truth or service. So just be careful. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on out there.
Yeah,
Another
some
Enneagram
wackos.
reader told me I killed my mom because I was a 9.
Yeah.
No,
That's
he's
why I
making
killed my
things up.
mom.
God, guys.
I realized, this I have to say, I realized the level of humor that you have in this podcast is not the kind of humor that I share. I was like,
We're going
I'm
to
going to be
torture you.
open to dark humor. I'm going to be open, you know, like to this, because
Stop judging.
no
Stop
judgment.
judging us, Valeria. The judgment.
No judgment. I know, David.
Stop.
Yes.
She's like, I don't
Yeah.
receive these dark implants from you all. This dark
was
humor.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that Instagram account is something, you know? So I was like, okay, let's,
She's trying to
you know.
keep her vessel clean, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We're just helping you non-identify and keep the vessel open.
but she
God.
won't judge us if we make her vessel dirty.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I appreciate. No, it's okay. I will just.
She's going to be scrubbing her nails after this call.
No. I will do some cleaning, but not because of you. It's
some
just a
sage.
general thing. Yes. Yes, I did it a little bit before. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
I
what's-
have my
Oh, cool.
Kushita here. Like I have
There you
my
go.
special crystalline in front of me. Yes.
To
sure.
protect you from
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
You know, I think Emeka mentioned this on the last call, but the Enneagram actually was channeled.
Yeah.
Oscar Ichazo, like it has
Yeah.
like a whole history, and it's complicated, and there's many iterations, but it was kind of all synthesized basically through Ichazo saying that the Archangel Metatron shared the Enneagram with him,
Which is
and
where
then
I get my stuff, by the way. Me and Ichazo on the same Arcturian channel. Yeah.
Because I found it very interesting that the Enneagram it's part of the Metatron Cube.
Oh, really? I don't know what that is. What is that?
The Metatron Cube. The Metatron Cube it's sacred geometry. Oh my God, guys, sacred geometry. So this is wait.
Is it like the Merkaba?
It's a little bit more complete than the Merkaba. This is the Metatron Cube. I'm going to show you. This is one of the most
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
one
Interesting.
of
the
the most
Enneagram is-
complete shapes in sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, the Merkaba is part of the sacred geometry, the flower of life, the seed of life, the tree of life. And there, it's funny how everything, you know, in the Jews study the Kabbalah, that it's actually the same structure of the tree of life. So in the
Right.
end, everything is mixed, you know. There's
I mean, yeah, the Kabbalah and the Enneagram fit perfectly, like around like in terms like the Sephiroth number 2, Hawkman is type 1, Binah is type 2. The one that represents glory is number 3, Tiferet is 4. It goes on all the way around the Enneagram. So like there's like an order of the energy that goes down according, it's like a lightning bolt shape. That corresponds to the outer circle of the Enneagram, which is pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So in the end, I think all of these structures, everything is sacred geometry. I will send all of you. There's maybe to some of you I sent this. There's maybe you can share it as well with your listeners. There's a documentary. It's a 2-hour long documentary on YouTube on sacred geometry for beginners. But I love this documentary because it's so cool. Intense, and it explains so much how everything in the universe everything is built through the patterns of sacred geometry, and how we can use sacred geometry to heal something, to transcend, and how so many of these tools, these healing tools, these self-discovery tools are around sacred geometry as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm very interested. I had a question again to go back to channeling, but kind of in the other direction, because it sounds like you've had like you mentioned, you've had the experience where somebody that is receiving a reading from you, it doesn't resonate with them immediately, but then later it might, or something like that.
It only happened once, I have to say.
Oh,
from hundreds and hundreds. Yes.
Oh, all right. Flex. Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess I'm wondering if that openness can go in the other direction too. Because like I could see like a reality where I'm just kind of too caught up in like my own business to be able to like receive something, to be able to like receive a reading and like have it reflect on something honest about me. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering if like the receptivity, let's see.
Are you asking listeners of a reading might be caught up or identified with something that does not allow them to
dismiss the reading? Is that making sense?
So if there's something in a reading that maybe makes them disconnect completely from the information they are receiving?
It's something like, well, I guess I'm wondering, because you were talking about, you mentioned like as a channel, you have to remain really open, and obviously because something is going through. So I'm wondering, as a recipient of a reading, if you also have to go into a reading with like a state of openness, and if like a state of closeness will, keep something from resonating in the moment.
I understand. Yes, it happened. For example, it happened to me. Some people that have come, when you're very desperate, where there's an extreme situation and you're desperate, that you tend to believe things that you won't normally believe. So I have had some people that, I don't know, maybe they're going through extremely challenging times and they come to me that they would not normally. So these people that are much more closed to the experience, to what they don't really know. I remember at the beginning, it was a little bit harder for me to access the information because this was not like a really open channel. This was, they were like this, and they didn't want to, and they were not trusting truly, letting me access this information, even though they say, I cannot access anyone's records unless they give me express consent. Otherwise, I could be very dangerous for the world otherwise, So even though they gave me their express consent, it's not an energetic consent.
Interesting.
So in these moments, I have found that it's like, damn, it's hard for me to pass through and to really access information. But then when they started receiving information and things start to resonate, they loosen up, they relax, and then everything, goes as normal. But it has happened sometimes. And also these kind of situations where people are very attached, especially people who have this personality trait, this control drama of the victim, people that perceive themselves as the victim of any situation. They do not like to hear anything that goes against that. So when you tell them anything, maybe it was them creating certain scenarios, that they instantly close because they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They don't want this to make. But then, when they chill, they relax. It's like, oh wait, no, yeah, maybe, because the records, they also talk to you in such a loving way, in such a non-judgmental way, so it's not that, I always say, when you talk from ego, the other person instantly shuts down because the other person's ego reacts. But the thing about the records is that they talk from a place so far away from ego. So you're always open to receiving because there's not how to say, you don't have like this reaction resistance. Of exactly, this resistance reaction of closing up and like, oh, this is bothering my ego, So that's really nice about the readings. But some people are very much in the mind, and some people are very much in the reality that they have created for themselves, even though it has nothing to do with truth. So I love this quote that says, liars don't heal, because you cannot. If you lie to
how
yourself,
would you even begin?
It's impossible. It's impossible. So some people like that, they find a lot of resistance.
So that's interesting that the energetic openness of the receiver actually does affect your ability to access their information.
Not 100%, but I
But
find
it
the
can.
first minutes a little bit like, I have to go through a little bit like this.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes later, we're good. But
Okay, got it.
And I have to say, this is something that I've experienced many years ago. I have not experienced this in the last years.
Okay.
Probably it's a mix. I don't know, the people that, I don't know. But also, of course, with the years, I become a better channel. I don't channel the same way that I channeled 5 years ago, you know? And probably in 10 years, I will channel even better. So yay for that.
Yay.
We were wondering if you do either group or couples channels, like if you can, if there's like a collective Akashic
record,
yeah, like a shared record, because like, Alexandra and I were talking like, the four of us, but yeah. I mean, the four of us are like have some kind of mojo or something, something happening here, and so I don't know, it'd be interesting. Do you do that kind of stuff?
Yes, the group channelings are actually my favorites. So
oh, wow.
I love. Of course, I do couples. Sometimes it's like brothers and sisters, a couple like romantic couples. Sometimes it's like mother and sons, or this, because it's also they come with their individual questions, but also there are many questions linked together. So it's very fruitful. They're very beautiful. The couple sessions are very beautiful as well. I particularly love the group channelings where there's a group reunited and I open the records of the group.
Oh, wow.
This is extraordinary because sometimes we can focus on, let's say, something specific. I don't know. Sometimes, especially lately, I've been doing these activations. I do these activations where my guides have asked me and they say, hey, because we are kind of like, I don't want to say behind because timing is perfect, but, we could, as humanity, we could be doing a little bit, I don't want to say better either because that's a lot of judgment, but you know what I'm saying? Like kind of have a little push, to kind of like move forward and expand a little bit more the consciousness. And they asked me to do these activations. So in these activations, I open the records of the group and they start activating different codes and different things inside us. And they give messages for the group. And they always have this space for people to ask questions, not for them in particular, but general questions, And sometimes people ask these questions that concerns us all. How do I deal with what's happening in the world? How do I let these, whatever wars not affect me? How do I, transcend whatever money blockages? Like things that are like common, let's say, for all of us. And these are kind of like one of my favorite things to do. I love group channelings and I love getting messages for everyone. And they're really bonding experiences as well. And
that sounds like it.
The energy that comes, because it's not just for me. When you open your records, even if it's through me, there's a lot of energy flowing from the Akasha through your pranic tube, right? Like the pranic tube is the tube of light, of energy that all humans have. It's the one that connects us to source and connects us to the center of the earth. And it's the one through all our energetic centers or our chakras are aligned in our pranic tube. So I always say it's kind of like the the umbilical cord that we have with the universe, right? So when you open your Akashic records through someone, even if it's through me, there's a lot of energy from the Akasha that flows through your pranic tube. And already, that's why many times the healing process sometimes starts while you're doing the questions or while you're telling me the questions, because already a lot of like energy starts flowing. And this energy then settles as well in your more physical bodies. So group channelings, going back to what you were asking, they're really, really beautiful and powerful and amazing. And one of my favorite things to do, I have to say.
Well, I think we got to do
Amazing.
that.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Yes,
let's do it now on the
Is that something you're willing to do now, or do we need to set up another time to do that?
We could, I guess we could. Yes, maybe I need to open the record. It's just the thing is that we cannot just for me, I'm very serious. Like for me, it would be we would need like at least 5 minutes to do a little meditation for us to all to align. Yes, exactly that. That's exactly what I was going to say, David.
Yeah, put him in his place.
No, but preparing the bodies, as you have experienced, when I do the opening of the records, I raise the frequency of all your bodies. Yes, not just the physical, energetic, emotional, mental, karmic. Like we make the cells spin around faster, because when we talk about dimensions, when we talk about like this, that we're doing experiences in the third dimension, we're shifting to the fifth dimension. What does that mean? I always say everything is energy, right? So how I'm not mixing with the energy of this stone or with the energy of this mic if everything is energy. So what differentiates our different energetic bodies is the speed at which each one, we are a cumul, you say a cumul, like a lot of atoms and molecules and cells spinning around on their own edge together at the same speed, in the same frequency. So what makes that I don't mix with this crystal or with this pen, it's because we're spinning, let's say, at different speeds. Yes? I don't know if I'm able to explain this.
You're making sense.
No, you're making sense.
So that's why before doing a reading, I always work on raising the frequency of all your bodies as well, so that you're, let's say, more open as well to receive, and you receive things beyond. So this is, I like to do that, so that all the group has like this, we raise the frequency of the group. We prepare like I call, how I call everyone. I create structures of light of protection and all these things because I'm very careful.
Yeah.
So, we would need a little bit of that in order
We're ready to do
properly.
Whatever you want to do and you feel comfortable with, we can do it some other time. But
I mean, do it now.
We can do it now.
We can do it now.
Well, yeah. I mean, are you genuinely comfortable
you.
with it? Because I mean, we can do it another time. And
yeah, we can schedule a time where it's also more structured. We're obviously excited.
A little bit. I would honestly love to do this, but I would actually, because it's like I have been working all day. It's like I like to do my readings in the morning. Like
right. Okay.
I would love
Yeah.
if you can wake a little bit earlier and we do it in I would love to do. We can do like a whole thing or an episode or just for you guys, like where we do a group reading. I'm absolutely in.
Amazing.
But I like to be fresh, and I like to be, because I've been working all day, so I'm like,
it's all right. Yeah,
I'm tired.
No,
I love to talk to you guys, but it's like to do something like this, and especially
it's a big ask. Yeah,
it's a thing, and also if you want to record it and you want to share it, I see so much out there, like these people that just for the sake of like, oh yeah, I channel, I'll do this thing, and then it's not something that is serious. It's not something that has consistency, and I always say, I don't know, to me, I respect this and honor this tool and what we can do so much. So I like to give it, like especially in the best shape that I am, to give it my best. And this usually that's why I always do my readings in the morning. And we could do it in the night, but it's just been a long,
Totally.
I'm sorry, I know it's a bummer. Huh? Maybe
No,
it's okay.
It's totally fine. We were just excited.
I think this means you don't like us.
Yeah, exactly. David is reading my mind. Like,
I'm a channeler.
Like exactly. Yeah.
I'm a channeler.
But he actually is. He's laughing, but he's yes.
Oh, I believe that.
It would be cool if people could hear channeling session like that, because I mean there's a lot of curiosity like what the hell this is, and so if we could record that, of course I could edit out anything that's too sensitive to share with the world, but just to people can actually get a sense of what a session is like. I think it would be really, really good.
Because
I
don't know about everybody else, but I got like a couple messages from people after that last
episode
after the last episode where we all shared. And people were like, they're appreciating how we are very kind of like skeptical and serious minded, but we're also open. And they were like, thanks for doing that. Like, it was just really powerful to hear this about this tool, I guess, this modality. And a lot of people were like, it's like somebody wrote me and said something like they'd had experiences of having a connection to the Akashic records, but they'd kind of talked themselves out of it. And I don't know if it just seemed to resonate like on an emotional level with a lot of people that were just like, thank you for doing that episode, which, when we were all sharing, I was like, not that I like normally give a shit how people are going to react, but I was just sort of like, yeah, people are probably going to like go, yeah, all right, this is too out there for me or something. But like, it seemed to touch something
it
in
made
a lot
an
of people.
impact. It did, yeah.
Yes, no, and I received so many messages as well from people. I was like, I had no idea that this was something, because it's, unless you are in this kind of state, it's something that maybe for some people is too woohoo, right? Like, I don't know,
Right.
like maybe too, and for me, but you know me as well. No, now you know that, I really, and to me, I always say, like, I work on demystifying spirituality because I don't talk like a whatever, I don't look like a whatever spiritual teacher. I don't like, no, I have nothing of that, and that's why I've always felt that I've never fit in this whatever spiritual word means, because I don't talk like them, I don't dress like them,
You're a skateboarder chick.
Exactly. I used to skateboard professionally. Like, this was like,
Wow,
cool. What is this? So this is the thing, and which to me has been a path in itself, because I was like, oh my God, I really don't fit in. But I was like, this is a tool that I have. And my guys were like, you really need to start sharing this, girl. Like, leave the skateboard on the side. You really, now it's time. It's been 10 years. It's like, it's all good, but you really need to start doing this, because my life path was really aligned into, it's funny because I say always 95% of the sessions that I do is to starseeds, to people that are not naturally from planet Earth, who all of us, we come from other places, and we came here with not only do our personal mastery, as I always say, but also to bring certain things, gifts, and to help in this. We're all working together towards the consciousness expansion of humanity, right?
Yeah. I had a couple questions, just like for one. Yeah, when you were channeling, there was just, you talked louder, you talked faster. I could see like your chest got like red, like you were hot, you were blowing your nose a lot. So what's like, one question is just like, what does it feel like when you're in the flow? Like, I know you talked about feeling stuff in your body and stuff, but what is like, is it like feel like more charged up? And then another question I have is, you mentioned things like fairies and other planets, and so have you, like, I haven't had any like paranormal experiences or anything like that, but I've been curious about people's stories that have had paranormal experiences. Do you experience more kind of like paranormal things now that you've got your vessel is more open or whatever?
I think my regular life is more normal, is more close to the paranormal than what people consider the normal. Like, I do close, when I'm with a lot of people or things like this, I close. I like closing the channel, and I want to be normal. I don't want to be like seeing things or stuff. But of course, there's all the time things happening. Like, it happened, sometimes I get one of the guides of the person that I'm going to do a session the day before. Like, they just show up in my house. I'm like, who are you? And it turns out the day after, it's the guard, one of the guides of this person, and I talk to, sometimes it's people. It happened this with a friend of mine who is very connected as well, and I started to say like, oh, it's like this, and that. It's like, oh yeah, this is, I don't remember his name. Yeah, this is my guide, like this and that. So when you start seeing life beyond the physicality that we are were made to believe of what is real, then like a whole new world kind of opens, because this is we think that this table is not moving and this mic is not moving, but everything is like just billions and trillions of like moving, and there's so much happening, and there's so much parallel realms happening at the same time. And so in my house, it's filled with elves, and I see them. I don't see them physically as I see you guys, but I see them with other senses. I can see, they talk to me. So I, sometimes I have like, and sometimes I have had crazy experiences that I'm channeling. I'm doing sometimes these initiations. I did an initiation in Switzerland, an AKASHIC Records initiation some months ago. And it was I started like channeling these kind of lines of codes from source. Like, I didn't know what that was. I was like, what is it? It was just so powerful. And then after the initiation, after I did the activation is the part of the initiation where I introduce certain light codes in all your energetic centers to, I always say to tune in to connect the router. I connect you to the records. And one of the women, she channeled the same, like like exactly the same codes, So it's not something that say, oh, this girl is delusional. No,
Right.
Someone that I don't know that and she was channeling like the same things, the same code. And I said, this is exactly what I've seen or shared. Experiences as well. Sometimes I'm meditating together with someone, and it's like I don't know. There's so many. I don't.
Wow.
There's so many, and so many beings from other civilizations that I work with a lot. Again, I don't. It's not a thing like I don't think that I have to convince anyone. I don't think it's something that you'd have to believe if you don't believe. Like I'm not interested in. I know I'm not interested in being right about anything. I'm just interested in everything that I do, so my service is better, so my channel is more open. And the last activation I do these activations in every portal, like the 2-2, the 3-3, the 4-4, 5-5, 7-7. The last activation I was telling to the group, like, guys, like, I don't know how much more science fiction this can get, but the least I judge the channel, the more it opens. So now I go with that. Like, yeah, maybe it sounds like, but then I have all these things, sometimes I'm being shown like this image. I'm doing a lot of research on Atlantis at the moment, and Atlantean implants and things like this. And sometimes they show me these images. And then 2 days later, like someone sends me like, this exact same image. There's signs everywhere all the time. And again, you don't have to believe, we don't have to believe in the Arthurians or in the Sirius. Like, I'm not so interested in making people believe any of that. Mostly it's like, I just want our lives to be better here, because I do believe that the main aim of the human experience is ascension, is evolution, is consciousness expansion. And that happens through, I believe, the joy of living. And I would say the best thing that we can do for the world today is being happy. So this kind of like about that. But I've never been like abducted, if that is what you're asking. I don't know if that was that. Like, I've never been abducted.
I'm interested in that too. But no, I mean, just, yeah, if you, you basically answered, but also just like if you see spirits or,
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yes. All the time. All kinds of, like, from all different realms, like angels, archangels, ascended masters,
Dragons.
Dragons, the spirits of natural realms, like the fairies and the elves and the all this. Like, I see them constantly as well. Yeah. Again, I try to close when I'm with groups of people, because I'm not interested in, But when I live in the forest, in a house up in the mountain, in a very remote area, so this is a good place to explore. This is a good place, this I do. Yes.
His other question about
yes, and about the things. Was it about like what do I feel like on a body level? Was it?
Yeah, just basically. Yeah.
Why does your nose run?
Yeah, so this is something that started happening when I started consciously channeling. Water runs out of my nose constantly. It's something that I honestly, I don't know why. It just happens. So I always tell, like, don't. Also, I blow my nose very strongly, and I'm sorry for that. But it's just something that happens. It's like the only physical thing that I have. But also, I do get sweaty, and sometimes I've been told when I channel, people ask me sometimes to channel from a specific master, ascended master, or from a specific being. They say that I sound, even though I've never met, they were like, oh my God, you sound exactly like that. Like my voice turned into their voice. And this has happened often as well. But in general, to me, it's a state where I'm not thinking. It's a state of bliss. It happened to me that maybe I'm exhausted. Like, I haven't slept well. Like, I don't know, something happened. I'm going through a major situation personally, and I'm super worried. I open your records, the world stops. I'm for an hour, and I have done sessions with fever. Like, I'm not this fever, like feeling like shit, like really. And I was like, oh my God, will I be able to do this? They were amazing. And then I close the records and I die on the floor, like literally, because I come back kind of to my body, to what, and I die, So it's truly such a state of bliss, because I always say being a channel is like a tube. And from this tube, for example, if you pass water through the tube, the remains in the tube is going to be, humidity. If you pass acid, the remains is going to be oxidized. But if you pass the super high frequency of the Akashic records, that everything is just pure bliss. So as a channel, what remains within me is just, it's very blissful. Of course, it's tiring. You know, David knows, I heard you in the podcast. Of course, I only do one session a day, 2 tops if things are because I do 1 reading, 1 Akashic coaching. So this is how I do. Akashic coaching is not exactly like a reading. It's I open your records, but it's more like a coaching session with your guides and with your masters. So they are the ones kind of like coaching you and saying, you know, like, so they're extraordinary experiences as well. They are different, where I'm not just talking for an hour and a half nonstop. It's more like a conversation, but with them. So this is less heavy for me somehow. So I do 1 reading tops a day and maybe an Akashic coaching session as well. Wow. But of course, it is demanding. You know, it's a lot of energy. But on an energetic level, it feels like it's very blissful because you're in touch with so much sacredness and so much high frequency. Even if you're talking about heavy issues, it's from this place that I cannot explain, that is like a non-judgmental, pure love, pure understanding space that it's just, I don't know words to use how to explain the experience of channeling.
Do you like travel to any, like, so, you know, I love to go to Egypt, but I've been to like India and other places where there's like, you know, holy sites or whatever, and there you can like feel something there. Like, do you travel to like kind of sacred places like that? And what might be different from the point of view of openness or channeling or energy in these kind of places versus just, you know, being in the woods or something?
I do travel to Egypt often, not physically. I've never physically been there, but I travel, especially in the initiations to the Akashic Records. I always guide everyone to, and we all go to Egypt. The information that we can channel from these places, also from, like, I don't know, places like Glastonbury or places like, you know, there are some spaces. They are not exactly the same places as it used to be maybe 15,000 years ago, because, you know, the earth has rotated the terrestre, I don't know how to say this in English.
The axis.
The poles,
the axis. Exactly. The axis have shifted. So we're not exactly on the same places as it was 15,000 years ago. But still, when you connect to these places, you can go to these places and obtain insane amount of information. Because in all these places, Egypt, Sumeria, Mesopotamia, where the Mayans were, like, these are all the survivors of Atlantis, and they anchored the information, this high, you know, this much wider understanding of the universe, of the earth, of how everything works. They are what we call now the ancient civilizations, right? Like, they are the ones who created what we call now ancient civilizations. Because on a mainstream level, I don't think they acknowledge, right? Like Lemuria or Atlantis, or maybe not everyone. But when you travel to these places, the amount of information that you can access is extraordinary.
So can you resolve once and for all on this podcast how the pyramids were built for all of humanity, so we will know the truth?
That's a little bit of a pressure. But for what I know, in my understanding, so there was this Thoth the Atlantean. Yes, this Thoth the Atlantean was the first pharaoh. You say pharaoh in English?
Pharaoh, yeah.
Pharaoh. So Thoth the Atlantean, he's one of the survivors of Atlantis, and he said he lived for hundreds and hundreds, or maybe I think it's hundreds and hundreds of years. And he was the one, he had, and actually Thoth is one of the guides that I work with all the time, and it's the ones that guide us through the initiation on the Akashic Records. He had many different, he's also said that Hermes Trismegistus.
Hermes, yeah.
Hermes Trismegistus, yeah.
Thank you, yes. I don't know the name in English. He's Thoth, that is Thoth, that is the same spirit. And he had within himself, he has the knowledge, the understanding of how to build all of these things. They don't needed machines like tractors and things. He had other ways of like shifting and moving and things. When you understand the
vibration and
on a frequency level, of things. You don't need like a machine to. It's the same way like Jesus did not. It's a or I don't know who was Moses, or I don't know whatever who say that. Like they opened the water, so these things.
Yeah.
When you understand on a vibrational level, like these alchemists, right? Like alchemists understand how to manipulate on a vibrational level as well. When you understand this, you don't need the tractor, you don't need the thing, you don't need. So I believe, I don't know exactly, how this is not something that I have really.
We need it to be exact.
I don't know exactly how it was, but it was like I know it was with technology that it's not available for us at the moment. It's not available for us. It's technology that but it's technology that's coming. Of course, it's technology that is coming back, but we just don't. Is
it maybe a capacity to I don't know, with the mind or in some kind of state,
to manipulate the elements? Absolutely,
right.
absolutely. Yes, you manipulate the elements in a different, it's just in a different way. And the accuracy and the like all the points and where las cámaras de Amalfi chambers, in English, I don't know. Like all this, the alignment of everything how is it possible? If we understand these like ancient civilizations, they came with the knowledge of Atlantis.
You should bring your physical body to Egypt with me.
Yes, I would really, really love that to go to. Like, I haven't been in Egypt yet, which is crazy.
Yeah, we'll show you the good stuff. Yeah, no, it's
on my mind.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, our trip was very good, so I think you should come.
Yeah. You know that in Egypt they don't allow you to do like if you want to do energetic work, you're not allowed to do that because they know exactly what they have there. But it's interesting, to of course.
But there's you can tip people. You can tip people.
Yes. Yeah, you can bribe people.
Yeah, very, very. Yeah,
so they don't want people. They don't want people channeling
They don't want people doing any kind of meditation, prayer, ceremonies, anything woo woo. But like we get private visit to the the Great Pyramid, and when you go to like the Red Pyramid, it was basically empty. There's a lot of sites that we just see that just happen to be empty and do what we want.
When there's a line, like I've seen, I know also like friends who are channels that they have gone there, and even though they don't have permits, the guards recognize who they are, and they are telling, you're a son of Egypt, you're a daughter of Egypt, you know. So in this, when you are so connected, I feel so connected to Egypt. Like I know there's all these rules that we know and understand on a physical. You don't have the permit, so you won't be able to. They don't exist because we're living in a different channel, in a different timeline, where all those things, they don't exist for us anymore. But we are actually able to do whatever it is that we need to do or what we could do. So I agree.
Cool.
We should go.
We should go.
All right. Any more questions?
I have one. I have like a practical. I guess it's not practical, but would you be able to explain just like a little piece on the rays? Because I know that you mentioned that I had the violet ray come through in mine, and I know that these guys had some other colors, but that's my first time hearing about any of that. So a little nugget of information on those.
Yeah. So you're so violet, like you're so like all the time, like it's so it's very, very from every pore. So the rays of
thank you. I think,
but also because it's a little bit a mixture of you have all these like fairy unicorn situation, energy happening within you. So it's a very present frequency. So the rays of light are basically frequency of source put into action. Each color represents, let's say, has a different action, has a different impact. That's why we know, for example, violet is transmutation, green is healing, golden is illumination, alignment, white is ascension, pink is universal love, sweetness, compassion. It's pure frequency of source put in action. We understand it in colors because we are human and we need to understand and put things and understand. But it's frequency. Yes, it's basically frequency put in action. And each one of these rays, they have a consciousness on itself. So you don't even have to ask. And of course, there are some guardians of these rays. There are angels, archangels, and ascended masters that guard and not only guard, but they operate for this race. Yes, they are at service of this race. So I always say, for example, if you, I don't know, need to heal, or you're preparing a class, or you need to write a book, a project, or something, shower yourself, ask for guidance for the golden ray, the ray of illumination, of guidance, of ancient wisdom, you know, to become this ray. But for this, you know, you have to believe to create. If you don't believe, you cannot create. Yeah. So this is kind of like a little bit of a basic ABC. I guess it happens to you, like, you know, because people is, but how is it that I just imagine a shower of golden light? Believe to create. You cannot. You cannot be any otherwise, because your mind. And I probably said this in most of your readings. The mind, from all the bodies that we have in this experience, in this human experience, is the one that understands the least. Yes.
Yeah.
And I always say the mind doesn't even understand how the physical body works, the mental mind. You know, we have the emotional, the energetic, the karmic, the physical, spiritual, all the emotional bodies, all these different bodies conforming the human experience. The mind doesn't understand how the physical body works. But the physical body doesn't say, oh, if the mind doesn't understand how I work, I must not be real. No, the body doesn't give a fuck. The body continues working in its gloriousness, even though the mind doesn't understand. So for this, the same, there are many things that the mind won't understand yet, or even doesn't need to understand.
Yeah.
Try, experience. Okay, I'm going to work with the violet ray. If I need to transcend something, you know, that's, you know, that you're writing and burning, violet ray. If I need illumination for something, I'm going to give a class, I'm going to talk, I'm going to have a complicated talk or a meeting or something. Golden ray completely, you know, like just shower yourself. You can ask for assistance to these guardians of the rays. They are, to me, the work with the rays of light, they have upgraded my life in ways I cannot explain. Like I have uploaded, they have some guided meditations to work with the 7 rays of light that I have on my Spotify channel. And so for people, you know, who want to, even though you don't understand, my guided meditations are very easy to follow because I work with this visualization. So to see, experience, try, you know, you lose nothing. And we should all be learning and researching more on how energy works and what it can do for us, instead of just living in this extreme limiting kind of human existence that is absolutely unnatural.
Yeah. So with the rays, because you mentioned that, you know, there was like one main one that came through for me. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you can access all 7. You can ask for help from all 7. Do people have an easier time accessing one of the rays than other thing? You know, because I think John had like blue or something like that, and I don't have blue, but I have violet, and he, you know, that kind of question.
Because we don't have, in the composition of our human existence, we don't have all the rays by default.
Okay.
Like, it's when I open your records, what I see more, it's like the first thing that I see, it's kind of like the colors of your soul, your guides coming up, you know, coming forward. And so that's why, you know, some people may say like, oh, I'm doing like an auric reading. I don't call it like that. I call it just, you know, like you are at service maybe with this ray, but not everyone is at service of a specific ray. So maybe some people, they don't have any ray. You know, I don't see any ray of light, but I do see, you know, their guardians coming forward and, you know, explaining to me part of his soul path, where he's coming from, or, you know, so there's so many options. There's so many options, infinite.
No, that's helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes. It's really
I had
nice.
a question about, you had mentioned some of those, I don't know, double numbers like 11, 22, 33, 44. Well, and 44 is a recurring thing that pops up for me just kind of all the time, and it was kind of interesting that you're 44 this year.
Yes.
But but I was wondering if you can say more about those, and specifically this, I'm indulging here, specifically 44. Is there something, has a certain resonance with something?
Well, actually, I don't understand numerology so much,
Okay.
but I will, so I don't know exactly the meaning of 44. But something that happens to me all the time is that our guides are constantly sending us information, sending us signs, so what I do every time I see these double digits, this double number, or 1331 or 2424, or so, whatever, but 2424 is not an option. But whatever it is, I get the phone and I say 1111 spiritual meaning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. And the message is always exact. It's like, oh, it's insanely exactly what I remember. Once I was waiting for this. This was many years ago before I was doing this. I was the time that I was skating professionally. And there was this campaign that I wanted to do. And I was like, oh my God, I really, 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 and it was a lot of shit tons of money. And I was like, oh my God, I really, really, really want to do this. And I was like asking for my guys, what's going to happen? Da, da, da. And then I look at the phone and it was 1313. And I look at 1313. The meaning is the financial blessing that you're waiting is coming, you know?
Cool.
And an hour later, I got the call that I got the job, you know, like things like that, you know, it's just, they are all the time sending you messages and sending you signals through numbers, through synchronicities.
Yeah.
I just looked up, I said 44 spiritual meaning, and it says, if angel number 44 serves as a message from your angels reminding you to stay committed and focused. It is a symbol of stability and hard work.
Yeah. Well, there it is right there.
Yeah. Didn't that come through in your reading
that's
too?
That's actually my issue. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
That's kind of rude of you. No, but it's happened to me like many dozens of times over the decades. I'll, for example, be driving, get on the highway, and the car that, you know, I end up right behind, the last two digits are 44, and then that kind of cues me to look for more of them, and then there'll be literally like 2 or 3 more license plates that end in 44. Wow. Just write it right. I mean, talk about synchronicity for that to have come together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Focus.
Yeah. The angels are screaming at you to get it together.
Write your book.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, Valeria, you gave me, I think it was almost a year's worth of homework to correct all of my insanity.
Yes.
And that you gave me, I think, more than anybody else. So
I got a lot. I
don't remember.
Yeah.
But I'm
not
not sorry.
But I haven't been focused on it.
But that's the thing. The thing is, like, you know, some people complain. Oh my God, I have to do this for 21 days. I'm like,
I'm complaining right now.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, but the thing is, like, hey, now we have the way of getting out of this. Now we have the way of canceling this contract that I've been dragging for many incarnations. Now I have the way, and sometimes it's like there's a reason why we do it 21 days in a row or 11 days in a row, and it's because that is the same way that it's a physiological thing. We know that when we do something 21 days, it anchors. It's like a new habit, right? They tell you you need to do it 21 days in a row to anchor to create. It's basically to create the new path in your brain, like a new way of the brain to thinking. You create a new path. So that's why we need to do it 21 days. It anchors the intention, and therefore it's kind of like, it's also a commitment, you know, kind of like your commitment to truly this, you know, canceling this contract or doing this other thing. So it's interesting. Numerology is truly, truly fascinating. But I think this thing, as you know, to me, it's really about like bringing it also down to earth. Like this, the experience is beautiful, and oh my God, my soul talked to me. It's so nice. But, now you know me, and it's like, okay, how can I make this experience, how can I make my life better out of this experience? If I need to cancel this contract, boom, here, I will give you how to cancel this contract, how to heal your inner child, how to restore your own voice, or whatever it is, because it's like, I live in Mallorca. Everyone loves doing ayahuasca sessions all the time. Every week, and everyone is doing their ceremonies. How they're integrating, they're not integrating. Right. That's why they need to go for again and again and again and again and again. If there is no integration to this experience, in the end, it creates more disconnection, because you think that the spiritual or the understanding only happens when you are in connection to this plant, or only happens when you are having a reading, or this is not true. So this creates an even bigger disconnection towards our own essence, because spirituality, we're spiritual. Yeah. Everything's spiritual. We're spiritual beings doing human experiences. There's nothing that is not spiritual. Everything's spiritual. So to me, it's really important, like, okay, let's bring this down to earth. Let's make my life better here today, instead of being all mystical about it, which, I can be, but I'm also very like down to earthy, or that's what I That's how I think about me. I don't know if that's true. That's what I think.
No, it comes through for sure. Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
a
thank
lot
you.
of what you're saying is emphasizes like the self accountability aspect of all of these kind of modes of healing and self reflection. Like you can engage with the mystical, but if you're not applying, how do I say this? You can engage with the mystical, but just the engagement isn't going to solve your problems. You still have to do something.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there's still a self accountability, self responsibility, self sufficiency thing that needs to be applied.
Absolutely. And it's the part that people like the least.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, you're
Dating.
talking
We all,
about-
people.
you're talking
Sorry,
about
me.
me.
No, I include myself too. No. Everyone, all of us. Yes, for sure.
I see how you are.
Can you? I could talk to you forever. I think. Can you cancel contracts yourself? Because I had things about canceling a loyalty contract. John and I have like some
Dark
contracts we need to
contracts.
cancel together. And then I think it was a loyalty contract, an implant. Can you? How do I say this? Is that something we can do on our own, or do we need a channel to help us break contracts and stuff
No,
like that?
we can. The channel helps you see that you have things because maybe
Okay.
you're not aware. It's like, oh, my back has been hurting all my life. Hey, dude, you have like a massive implant, like on your shoulder blades. So I can see this, but you have the power, the same way that you have the power to command over the energy, because we have that power as humans. You have the power to command over, canceling contracts done, from these or other consciousnesses. These are stuff that we can do now. Yes. So that's why I send over. I have the craziest stories about like these canceling contracts especially with dark entities, because they don't like these. So I had this, she's a student of mine, and she told me how the day 21, canceling the contracts with dark entities while working with the grace points, this other thing that I work with a lot. She said, the moment that I finished the 21 days, my washing machine that is usually stuck with an L, iron L inside like the kitchen, it did and it came out. It broke this L thing. It came out, and she could not. And it was the moment when we finished the 21 days, because they are pissed. Of course, it's normal. I mean, they were feeding from your energy for I don't know thousands of years, and now you cancel this, and they're pissed. There's so many stories like this, but it's not something to be afraid of. It's just something to be aware. And it's like, there's so many stories that I can tell you of people truly canceling their contracts and extraordinary things happening, how their life shifts, the perception. Imagine living, it's like living with all these stones and all these things on top of you, and you're trying to walk. How can you walk with these tons and tons of heaviness within you? And now we're going through this pivotal kind of human experiences where we are asked to, okay, let's clean all this stuff. We lived all these thousands and thousands. Not everyone is ready. We know that it's especially after COVID that there has been like more consciousness expansion. It says that from 8 to 12% of people in the world has a little bit more of an expanded consciousness. That does not mean that everyone has integrated certain things, right? Like it's just you have the awareness, maybe, And from that, there's a smaller percentage that has integrated certain information, and from that, a smaller percent. So in the end, even though this is, I don't know, like 700 million people, is that a 10% of, we are what, seven, how many are?
Billion.
7
Like
billion?
8 billion.
We're 7 billion, 8 billion.
billion.
So it's still like, like 750 million people. So this is still a lot, but it's still not the majority, right, of planet Earth. And it's okay. It should be done by phases. It's not like everyone is awakening at the same time, and it's okay. Awakening, whatever verb name you want to say. Some people don't like this awakening concept, but, whatever, you understand what I'm saying.
When is the next golden age when everyone will be enlightened?
Well, it is said everything in the universe, especially when we talk about our planet and our solar system, I always explain this. So there's the central sun of Alcyon, right? So this is astronomy. I'm not making woohoo thingies, right? There's the central sun of Alcyon, and our galaxy, our solar system, moves around the central sun of Alcyon, but it doesn't move like this, like round. It moves kind of like creating petals, it moves like this, like forming like an elliptic around the central sun of Alcyon. It's funny how in the time of Atlantis and Lemuria, we were very close to the central sun of Alcyon. This means that we are facing the light, let's say. In all this, after the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria, our solar system started to go further away from the central sun of Alcyon, and we got to the furthest point, like let's say the more darkness, like the one that we have the central sun of Alcyon in our back. Now, this famous Aquarius area in astrology as well, it means that our solar system turned around and we're facing the central, like we're heading back to being the closest to the central sun of Alcyon. They say that these cycles take the whole elliptic cycle 25,000 or 26,000 of years. There's some in the astronomy world, some people accept this, some other people don't accept this. I don't care so much about what they accept or what they don't accept. So everything on this planet is cyclical. So it says that each one of these cycles, it's around 26,000 of years. So we should get there in at least 15,000 years. We should be living another golden age.
Don't set my watch for it.
No, but I think I think it's going to happen much faster than before, because already the fall of these, we're experiencing a fall of millenary oppressive systems, even though it's not super tangible. There's stuff that is starting to happen. If you're aware, especially if you're connected more to non-mainstream channels of information and things, it's like there's more and more and more stuff happening. So it's interesting, but I don't think we're going to experience in this lifetime like pure bliss all over the world. But this being said, already much more people than what we believe are already living in a 5-dimensional experience on planet Earth at the same time. Some people are experiencing from a second dimension. Most people are experiencing from the third dimension. Some people, the fourth is the one that we jump back and forth. It's usually where we are at. Like, sometimes, there's a perfect understanding of the universe and everything, like, oh my God, and everything is perfect and pure bliss. And the day after is like, I understand nothing. What is going on? So this is very from the fourth dimension. We're going back and forth and back and forth cool. from the connection and not connection and not connection. So we're going through this at the moment. Not everyone, some people are experiencing, but I don't know if that answered the question. It was a very long answer, I think. I also like talking. Yes.
I mean, man.
Yes.
This is great, and I think we'll do a group session, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. Well, I mean, I have 1,000 more questions, but we'll leave that for some other time. But yeah, I just wanted to, kind of reemphasize just like how powerful the reading was. Like I went into that with, with a lot of open curiosity, but I had a lot of anxiety going into it because I just didn't know what was gonna happen, and also just the state that I had been in for a long time before the reading. And of course I still am in some of it, but it was just not the best place. I was like really dealing with a lot of insecurity, a lot of like self-doubt, a lot of like just kind of tightness, I guess. And the experience of the reading, I still have to do all of these practices and like the actual self-accountable kind of healing stuff. But even just having the reading, I left the reading just feeling so relieved and so much lighter and just so affirmed. Like it was just a complete kind of perspective shift to me that just really opened up a lot of energy for me. So that was really strong. There's probably more to say, but I blanked and can't find it right now. But yeah, it was just a really powerful experience. It's funny because you mentioned this earlier too, that some people have a bad reaction to hearing that like their suffering comes from their own creation. But for me, I had the kind of opposite experience, that hearing that my suffering was the kind of my own creation was the biggest relief ever. Like enormously, just like, oh, thank God, that means I can do something about it, as opposed to something's happening, I'm trapped, I can't get out of this, whatever. So even hearing that was the most beneficial thing to having this reading for me, was just hearing that there's like, I guess that like I'm in charge of my own life, and everyone is in charge of their own lives. That was the biggest takeaway for me.
That is beautiful, Alex. Thank you for sharing. That is super nice. Yes, yeah, I always say I think it's always like, when we understand, and also I when we understand who we are, it's just kind of like all the pieces fall into place. And also when a complete stranger confirms things that you may have been feeling, but you or maybe didn't find the word how to express it, or maybe not fully understand. And also a reading, as you know, they kind of like tie everything together, and it's like, oh, now everything makes sense,
Yeah.
This thing that they do, it's extraordinary, and it's like, oh, so when also when this is this acknowledgement as well of like who you are and what you do, and this, I don't know, this it gives so much sense to everything. And if we don't know, when we don't understand, we cannot take action. It's like when you
Right.
don't understand what's happening, I can't do anything because I don't understand what's happening. But when we know what's happening, I have a standpoint. Like now I can move further from here, So I think this is super important, and it has changed my life as well. So I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing that.
We should do do an Enneagram session with you, or I'd be glad to.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah,
Call,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, people were asking like, "What are you?" I'm like, I have no
yeah.
idea what you're talking about.
I'll hit you on WhatsApp, and I can send you a copy of my book.
Okay.
That'd be great.
And at this, I can figure it out. Like, it goes with birthday? No.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's just
much more complex.
It's more complex. You just got to figure it out, but it's based on the relationship of body, heart, and mind. There's body types, heart types, mental types. It's more complicated than that, but that's like the basis. And so it's about just becoming aware of what your patterns are, and what your blockages are, what you're habitually identified with, what your habitual judgments are, and how to like see it more impartially and not as you, but as something that is, it is directing the way that you organize your attention and react to, but you can be more or less identified with it.
Wow, that's amazing. Some people read, some of my like people who come to or some of my clients. One of my mentees, she was like, "Oh, yeah, I can't believe I read John's book." I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
like
Wow.
what was all
Cool.
this information?
Nice.
Like, she's from
great.
France, And she was like, I
Cool.
read John's
Sweet.
book. Like, I was like, okay, so suddenly like
Wow,
all these
connected.
connecting dots. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I've never heard of, like all these, and suddenly there's all these, links and bonds created. And
Cool.
yeah, I'm very grateful for it all. Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, David, again. Yes. Today I'm
Glad to do it. Yeah.
King David.
Yeah, thank you, David, for us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For introducing
Setting
you
this
to
up.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope more people
well, this was so
come your
nice.
way and get more sessions with you. It seems like a
Yeah.
lot of people are curious to learn more
Yeah.
about this. So
Yes. It has been that way this past week. So yeah, very grateful that you were open to talk about this. As you said before, from this place of like half skepticism and half like, hey, because
Yeah.
I think this
Like
was
curiosity.
the real, it's like, it's not a boohoo,
right.
Yeah. Do you want to plug your information, tell people about your website or your Instagram account, or where people can find, if you like have a newsletter or something like that?
Yeah, you give
just where people can
trainings
find you?
too, right? You give trainings. So
Yes, I do. I give trainings. It's usually, so I'm finishing my website. I know I'm not. It's been so many years. People are like, how can you, got this far along? And I'm like, I
You
know.
need more 44.
You're busy. Yeah.
44.
44. Yes, thank you. Thank you, David. No, but I'm working on it now, and I hired someone. So my website is going to be ready in some weeks. So that's exciting. But before, of course, on Instagram, I'm at Valeria Kechichian, which is a weird name that you probably don't understand. So maybe, you can
We'll write it
Put a link
down.
up,
We'll put it in the
down.
notes.
down because Kechichian is a funny surname. And I do have also, once a month, I send a newsletter with things in channel, information, guided meditations, healing technique. I do provide a lot of free tools for people, because maybe not everyone, can afford my session, or not everyone can, or for whatever reason, but it's important that the tools are out there, that meditations are out there, and people can actually access this information. And of course, I do like workshop master classes, and I teach people how to access their records, and on level 2 of the Akashic records, how to access other people's, so that they can do what I do as well now.
Amazing.
Yes.
God, so cool.
Really cool.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
we'll
for
be-
doing
so much.
this.
It was
We'll
lovely.
be reaching
Thank
out
you.
for a group session also.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, guys. You're so
Cool.
lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Despite your
We'll
dark
talk soon.
humor, it
Yeah.
was lovely. Yes.
Yeah,
Because
yes,
of our
yes,
dark
yes.
humor.
Yeah. I mean, that's our magic.
It was okay. I was scared. I'm like, damn, this is a dark Instagram like profile. I was like, damn, okay, let's do this. Yes.
We came to test
That's our-
you on your,
Yeah.
Dark
you know,
boy.
your belief.
Yeah.
No, and I have to say, honestly, like everyone is like so judgmental toward the darkness, and I always say, like, it's through those moments and it's through that we cannot have one without the other. We cannot have expansion without contraction. We cannot have light without the darkness. So less judgment towards like all that, and yeah, I think neutral is kind of like the sweet spot.
Yeah. You hear that, everybody? Be neutral.
Be neutral.
Yeah, I'm kind of neutral.
Especially
about you,
today,
but-
that word.
Okay. Like the 3-4 fixers telling people to be neutral. Okay.
Neutral while I punch you in the face with negativity.
My God.
No, the world is very funny now. Like the polarization is so extreme. So I think neutrality is something that we really, really need. Yes.
We'll think about it.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't want to. I don't
We'll get back
even
to you.
get like in the States situation and all.
Oh,
these
yeah.
things. It's like
Oh yeah, dark.
We're gonna have to be really
neutrality-
neutral.
Neutrality as much as you can. Yes. That does not mean not doing anything, right? Like
Right.
it's
Yeah,
just,
for sure.
Oh, okay. That was
just not adding to the problem.
44, David.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well,
All
guys,
right. Thanks,
Okay,
everybody.
Great to see
thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Thanks for
Bye.
being here.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.